All right, good evening, everybody. Thanks for your patience as we chase down some technical difficulties, but I think we're in good shape now, or decent shape. First item of business is student representative report, and welcome, students. Turn it over to you.
So at PHS, we're gonna be holding a fashion show in which students can showcase their style, culture, or crafting skills, and this is a fundraiser for our Sparrow and will be held on April 16th. You're all invited to come and support the people who are going to be showcasing their styles. Also, the quarter is coming to an end, and some students were a bit confused because this quarter is 10 weeks instead of 9.
On the topic of fundraisers, we have the talent show and the staff student basketball games, which are both fundraisers for our Sparrow. And I think we raised a little under $1,000 across both of those events. And the talent show is a big hit. We had a lot more events sign up this year than last year. Stafford student basketball game was heated. I was there watching it. And it was like 1 point away. The staff were winning just until the end, and one of the students made a bucket. So the students ended up sweeping at the end. It was really fun. Both of those events were really good and made a lot of money for the Sparrow and brought some awareness. And then we've got prom coming up. Leadership just went to Ashland Springs Hotel recently to check out the venue. We've got our theme this year, which is Night in the Bayou. So it's kind of like Pissing the Frog theme, but we've just been getting ready for prom and wrapping up any fundraisers we've had going. It's been good.
Good stuff. Thank you. Okay, we had a request from PTA to do their report sooner. Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So take it away. Gwen, welcome. Oh, we have a microphone for you. Do we have a mic for the, okay, great, thank you.
Is that one on back there?
Was that little white light on?
She's in P.
Yes, yes.
I got it.
Hold above chin, all right. Yes, not my usual boardroom, so I appreciate y'all. My name is Laura Latham, it's not working.
I think it's working on the Zoom,
Yeah.
which is the most important piece, so. Hang on 1 second, sorry, well, all kinds of technical problems today. Ace is in charge of your kid, I think, which is, he is good with kids. Yeah, he's good with kids, so it works, yeah.
All right, well, we'll make this super quick.
Oh, no problem.
My name is Laura Latham, I'm the president of the Beauty Style Education Association, appreciate your flexibility. That mom life is making it, run on home with my daughter. Just wanted to, come over, say hi. You've seen multiple of our representatives at the building and local level, and which is always a great pleasure to share with y'all what's going on. A couple things going on for us right now. Our educators are just excited to be back with kids and back in buildings and serving students after spring break. And so, ready to kick off the last little bit of the year here, getting ready for state testing season, which we're all thrilled by, as you all are. And it's going to be great. And then the other thing, we're really excited and grateful, looking at the academic calendar. We were really grateful to see that a lot of the input and collaboration that we have with Brent, as well as our school board members around the academic calendar, especially bringing that soft start back. And then being able to work out the new implementation of our contract language from the Indigenous Peoples Day. We're really excited about the academic calendar for next year. So really things are going positive, and we're just excited and looking forward to a really strong. Thank you all so much, Trevor.
Thank you so much. Right. And Lila left, otherwise I would have loved to hear from her, but maybe next time. Okay. Okay, accentuate the positive. Oh, we're waiting for Casey to kick it off. Yeah. Round of applause. He's a little bit. Slow clap.
Oh, hold on, sorry, I got locked out.
That's my fault.
No.
It's all good.
No one's fault.
Turns out we like kids here, so.
Good evening. Welcome to Talent Middle School. I'm Chris Gomez, the principal of Talent Middle School. I have a few people and things I want to shout out. First and foremost, Brianna Williams has stepped in as long-term sub as a special education teacher here at TMS. Big role to jump in. We are so lucky to have her, just her presence, her kindness. Already having students like that, that's how they're describing her, is just kind, and it's that type of humans that I want for a building. And then just other, like, just quickly problem solving some of our students, reaching out to families, just right from the get-go, so just thank you for her being here. That leads me to Mary Martinen, and she was here today, and is here supporting Raymond and helping in this transition, and just her support, her guidance, just her knowledge of our kids is awesome to see. I asked her at one point if I could help her through the situation going on, and as the words left my mouth, I'm like, she's the one that should be helping me, but she's just great, and great support help. Jessica Hamlin and Monique Strain, we've been to a couple of job fairs recently, and just the coordination and organizing all of that, down to steamers to make sure that our tablecloths are having wrinkles in them, things that I don't think about, but I appreciate their attention to detail. And actually had a math interview today from someone that we met at the job fair that's met a lot of good candidates and hopeful candidates for our school. Track has begun. We have 115 athletes, which is awesome. Just all the coaches and the student athletes that are taking part in it. They had their first meets earlier this week, and did really well. One of our students is second in the state in discus. It's the first time he's ever done it. So, it's awesome. Other activities, Kelly Case, I've shouted her out before, but her addition to our school and just our music and band and just programming and all that. There was choir festival at Bedford High School, and she shared just essentially like what the judges had to say about our school, and it was just glowing and thinking about like how far our kids have come in her short time here. It's amazing. Our varsity band will be participating in the Pear Blossom Parade that's this weekend, and she'll be taking that. She's just doing great work for our school. And then last but not least, the streamers, the balloons, tomorrow's Library Appreciation Day, and Richard Bird wears many hats, and I rely on him in so many different ways, and he always shows up with kindness, and just grateful for his support. So just wanted to all I have to know.
Thank you.
Casey, did you just say Mary Martinez has been in the book?
Yeah.
No wonder
You took a field trip.
I did. Anyway, Kent Fuller, principal of Orchard Hill, and why I wanted to follow Casey is I'd also like to thank and highlight Mary Martinez and two other of our hawks, Mary, Ashley Sims, and Jenny Weaver all have student teachers, and I can't think of a kind of a higher compliment to give it a current teacher to help train a incoming teacher, and it's not easy work. Sometimes there's just some frustration, but I can't think of three better teachers: Mary Martinez, Jenny Weaver, and Ashley Sims to be doing that. I also want to publicly thank Maya Dombrowski from SOU. We meet with her pretty frequently to talk about the progress of the student teachers, because old people like me won't be around forever, and the pipeline of newcomers will be important for us. Also, I'd like to thank again Ashley Sims, Jamie Cross, and Katie McCormick. You were talking about track, Casey, and for us with the elementary girls on the run starting up, and it's an awesome program. And those types of things wouldn't happen without talented adults to lead our kids, and I can't think of three better models for our girls than those three that do that program at Orchard Hill. So thank you, John.
Good evening, board. I'm Shauna Schleif, principal at Phoenix Elementary School, and I'm also speaking on behalf of Heather Lowe. She's principal at Talent. She's in class today. So a few things that are going on at both schools. This is the fun time of year where we're like ending this year, but already thinking of next. So next week we have our kinder launch, which is always a really exciting time to meet our new incoming students for both of our schools. Big shout outs to both of our front office staff for getting things ready and our kindergarten teachers for getting everything ready for that next week. In the spirit of talent shows, it feels like every school has been having a talent show. So our talent show is happening next Thursday so Kinder Lunch is Wednesday. PS Talent Show will be happening at PHS in the evening. We have 22 acts. So we're really excited to showcase their hard work. Going on to both of our schools, we're starting state testing a little bit early. Actually, next week, we're going to be beginning with our extended ELA test. So both Talent and Phoenix are starting that next week. Our students, our staff, they're feeling really ready and prepared. It's been really fun to watch the preparation for that. And just kind of the excitement and just to show what they know. So we're looking forward to the results of how that's going. In this spirit, I just want to honor a few people during spring break. We had a spring break camp. We had students coming to school. So we had Laura Millette helping support with Talent Maker City. We had Carrie Baker and David Alvarez who were helping with those classes. They had a really great time with that. Just want to give another shout out to David Alvarez as well. He coaches a girls basketball team, mostly made up of PES students. And so they are spending time 2 days a week after school working on that. So things are just going really well. I'll end on this. Every day I drop my son off at Talent and they have a little board that says what the attendance was. It says, I can't even remember what it says. I should remember because I see it every day. But just like, thank you for showing up. And so just lately this last week, we've had some really positive attendance at both TES and yesterday we had 97% attendance when the 8 students were gone. So just feeling really proud about having kids show up to school. All right, that's it.
Shauna, what time is the talent show?
5:30.
Good evening, Board, Aaron Son, DPTRA. Really quickly, we've had some great family engagement for our STEAM classes this year. We have a packed house every Friday, parents, grandparents, younger siblings, showing to support their students. It's really fun to see the families and the kids coming in and learning together, building connections, increasing their connections to school, which is awesome. And I want to thank the families who show up every week. We have several families who come in every Friday for that. And especially thanks to Maddie and Stias and Shannon Harley for creating this lessons and creating an atmosphere that really promotes school connectedness from birth through grandparents. So thanks to those guys. Tomorrow we're going to be doing macro refraction flowers science. You know what that is? It's going to be cool. If anybody wants to join, that's going to be 10 to 12 tomorrow and have for that.
Good evening, board. Keelan Cross, proud principal of Phoenix High School. A couple of quick shout outs. Our student services team, which includes counselors, our academic advisor, and our grad coaches, helps to organize a spring break school. With the help of several teachers, including John Thiering, Ann Zaki, Moth Watkins, Monica Gonzalez, Lee Larson, and Mindy Torelli. Students were able to earn back 12.25 credits over the course of that opportunity, which, as you know, puts students back on track for graduation, and we're really excited about that targeted work. I also wanted to shout out to our ELD department, Carrie Miller, who's our ELD teacher, Jackie Weber, and Liana Sandoval, who are our IAs in that program. Have supported students through a million things, but also most recently through the ELPA test. And we're proud to say that we have 13 students who are now exiting because they are proficient in their language abilities, which is a huge celebration. We're really proud of the work of those students and those staff members. We are going to hopefully be the holders of another state title for masonry through Skills USA. And so I wanted to shout out to David Ford for making that magic happen. We're actually hosting a masonry tournament. And also to Tammy Ingwerson, who is just an encourager and is able to make really complicated things very simple and supporting CTE teachers and programs. Maggie Taylor Cheek has been present at Phoenix High School through a lot of different shifts. She was an alumni, she has been the color guard coach, and she now is pretty much whatever we ask of her. And that's really important when things get inconsistent for staff and students. She's just there, and I wanted to say thank you publicly for her. Last but certainly not least, I wanted to shout out that our ASB president, Abby Corona, was recently crowned the Pear Blossom Queen.
That's important for a lot of different reasons, but also because Abby and our other ASB officers, who include Adriana Flores, Elia Santos, and Lincoln, who are here, make us administrators better leaders by their constant like questions and requests to refine things from like job roles, questioning the whys behind events and all of those kinds of things. And I really appreciate that. So just say thank you and congratulations to Abby.
Nice. Job.
I just left the unified basketball game at Phoenix High School, just amazing, so I wanted to give a shout out to our coaches, Darren Rodman, Jolly Shabanian, our school psychologist. Also Jim Reddy was there to do the clock, and of course James Joy, so thank you for that. And then in front of you, you have an invitation to our district-wide literacy luau. It's replacing our math nights, but it's gonna be just as fun, but based on reading and other literacy activities. So it's preschool through grade 12. I want to thank Charlene Patton for all the organization behind that. And our media specialists in all our buildings have really been helpful in organizing it too. You'll see there's a passport. This time, every school has a couple of activities for the family based around literacy. Kids will get a little sticker. Their last stop is the Scholastic Book Fair that they each get to pick out one free book for the Scholastic Book Fair. Hopefully it's a little nostalgic for our families as well to be at a Scholastic Book Fair. And our high school students, our book club has been amazing in planning the high school activities. They picked out some books that they think high schoolers would like to have. So hopefully you can join us.
Good evening, everybody. Brian Sweet, Executive Chef for the district. Just a quick update from food service. I want to start off by thanking Joe Zavala for his help with Future Chef on March 19th. Great, he was able to bring down some local media, so we have some representatives from JPR and KDRB down there. There's some links if anybody would like to go online and check out the footage from that day. It's great. Brent, thank you as well for helping with the award ceremony. It was awesome. And then lastly, I'd like to thank John Kellogg and the rest of the facilities team over spring break. They were able to install 2 new ovens, one at PHS, one at Orchard Hill. Also a new cryovac machine at PHS as well, which I'm really excited to see. Some things that I'm working on currently, we've developed some big partnerships with Mohawk Valley Meats, Cedar Park Grazing, Mohawk Valley Meat, and Long Walk Vineyard to get some new produce and proteins in. We are looking forward to some meals we've got planned this month and next month. In light of Earth Day for this month, we're doing a vegetable stir fry with some local produce from Fry Family Farms on April 16th that all schools for lunch. Sodexo is doing their LTO on the 23rd that I'll be cooking for. It's the Hawaiian Uli chicken. And then of course, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, I'll be doing carne asada next week. Lastly, just so you guys with a little bit, I'm gonna continue to build some relationships with some local farms, get some local produce in. Here are some new things. April 21st, our Sodexo regional dietitians come down, Heather Steele, so we're gonna work on some student engagement activities at Phoenix Elementary as well as Town Elementary. And then just a quick reminder that our spring food service survey is out, so if anybody has a chance, please fill that out. We'd love to hear from you guys and your opinions. Thank you.
What was the second machine that you said you got?
Cryovac machine. It's a fancy vacuum sealer.
Oh, thank you.
Who won the?
Audrey Newell. Okay. From Orchard.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you. Anyone, anything from the board for Accentuate Positive?
I was pleasantly surprised to watch the talent troupe of the Ashland Art Club or the Phoenix Art Club, their trip on online. And that was
very cool.
fantastic. I mean, I think that's the best education you can get is travel. So I was really pleased to see that. And there was another group going to Puerto Rico. I'm assuming they're back. Was maybe
They make it back okay,
language
okay, good.
groups or something. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Good. Okay, next is citizens' comments. Did we have anybody? I don't think we have anyone in the audience. Do we have anybody online?
Sure.
Joe's online. Listening mode only, most likely. Hi, Joe. Okay. Superintendent report.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Campbell. I just have a few things. A lot of this is in your packet. With the end of the short session, we have legislative reports from COSA that we get from Morgan Allen that's in your packet. And then from United Strategies, our advocate that we sign on to help us be the eyes and ears on the ground at the Capitol. Don and I met with Greg yesterday and talked about some of the main topics, but if you have questions on that, I'd be happy to answer any of those. Really, the focus was no unfunded mandates, try to limit the impact on education as much as possible when we come out of these sessions. And so, and I think we did that. We have the same state school fund for the biennium, which was nice. They balanced the budget in different ways. So that information is in there. You'll have a facility newsletter that John puts together. We also have a technology newsletter that Canyon sends out that will get to the board either by email or in your next packet. So that's great, just little tidbits and information for our staff and what's going on in those different departments. Wanted to share the Future Chef report. Just really appreciate the partnership with Sodexo, and it's such a tremendous event, and kids and families fill the commons, and it's just great. And it was a tough. I'm glad I wasn't a judge this year. It was a tough decision, and but everybody had a great time, and really appreciate the partnership with Sodexo. Finally, SOESD has their grand opening, and I think, Paula, you mentioned this last time, on the 14th, over on the highway over here, 5465 South Pacific Highway, April 14th at 4 p.m. They will be doing a grand opening, and then after that, we'll have some self-guided tours. If you drive by that facility, it's kind of tucked away a little bit.
It's all chained up now.
Yeah, and it's but it's they just started moving in furniture.
Yes.
And so that'll be exciting. I can't imagine. I'm just thinking when we finish the high school and all the final preps of moving into a building, it's a lot of work, but look forward to seeing what that looks like and the functionality and having that be a partner in their district. Yeah.
That building that used to be there, that burnt, was really old when I was young.
Yeah.
So what a blessing.
It's gonna be definitely an upgrade.
Is it in the same spot as the work center?
Next to downtown.
That's it.
And that's all I had.
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Becca and Polly. Any objections? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Information and discussion, legislative OSBA update.
Oh my goodness, I have a lot. First off, the SEI information, Denise put that in our thing. If you have any questions, you can ask Denise. I'm gonna make sure I can read all this. I'm sorry, it's a lot today. The House Bill 4079, which was the immigration one that was passed about protecting students. So I want to give like a little back thing of what happens when a bill is signed by the governor, in case no one knows, because I've had people ask me. So it gets signed to the governor, and then the next step, it goes to the attorney general. And then the attorney general has it on his desk for a little while. And then it comes to then OSBA will write some policy. So some people are like, why hasn't OSBA sent this out like a policy? And it's like, because they don't know exactly how, they don't want to do the work and then have to change the work. And so if any districts or anybody's concerned, OSBA does have some information on their website, and you can always contact Spencer Lewis and he can help. But I just wanted to let everybody know that it seems like it's immediate, but it's like a long process, like everything else in the government. We're going through the executive director evaluation for OSBA. Pace was given a national award at their A group ceremony. Dave Harvey from Pace did a lot of work, and his assistant Emily and some other people to be recognized, just nationally, to have everything in place and have systems in place, which took a long time, but it also helps the organization and help Pace be stronger and better for their members. So that's great. Pace Day's coming up. It's April 23rd. Yeah. I get confused because I'm supposed to be there the 21st. I get to stay there for a couple days. Then OSBA is working every 3 years. They do a governance redo. In my opinion, we haven't really done a robust, in-depth view. Apparently there has been one done, but there's no records of what the last one, anything about the last one. Like there's like hit or miss stuff. So we're doing an in-depth one, which is, and Emily sent out an email. Nishik sent out an email with an interest form. So if anyone wants to be on, there's different categories of focus groups, please sign up. I got an email from Karaja Group today saying, please let people know that we are wanting as many people as possible for the focus group. And I can let you know, I am the chair of the governance committee, so I do know a thing or two about what's going on there. At least I hope I do. Stacy sent an email out today with updates of policies and what's going on, and it's pretty robust. And there's a calendar of legislation which I think I'll be looking at, so that, because I know I've heard from our region that they want another legislative reception type thing before next year. And so I think maybe aligning it somehow with the calendar, I don't know. I gotta get connected with the other two people that are helping me, and the superintendents and the ESD, because the ESD has also said they want to be more involved. And so I really appreciate everybody who sees that this is important and want to help as much as possible. So I will be getting that all to you as well.
Thank you, Dawn. Any committee reports today? Okay. Superintendent evaluation summary. You all have a letter in your packet. I think tradition is we usually read it out loud, so I will do the honors unless somebody feels passionate that they'd like to read it. Okay. Dawn really vehemently say no.
I am like saying no to everything I can possibly say no to.
She's practicing on us.
Do it. So as you know, we did our annual evaluation process, and one of the unique things this year was the targeted feedback summary, and it was pretty awesome to be able to get feedback from those who work closely with Brent as well. And so I will read our letter to Mr. Berry after we went through that process. So dear Mr. Berry, on behalf of the Phoenix Talent School Board, thank you for your continued leadership and service to the students, staff, and community of the Phoenix Talent School District. Following its review of your self-assessment, board observations, performance across professional standards, and established goals, and feedback from the community and staff, the board affirms your strong performance during the 25-26 school year. The board commends your leadership in advancing the district's strategic plan, maintaining high ethical and professional standards, and strengthening relationships with families, community partners, and regional and statewide stakeholders. The board also notes that feedback from the community and staff strongly affirms your leadership and continued positive impact across the district. In addition, the board recognizes your commitment to transparent communication, effective organizational leadership, and sound fiscal stewardship. The board further acknowledges meaningful progress toward district priorities, including improved student attendance, growth in elementary literacy, early gains in middle school mathematics, expanded community engagement, and continued advancement of inclusive practices for students receiving special education services. At the same time, the board identifies several areas for continued attention, including strengthening language access and engagement for Spanish-speaking families, deepening culturally responsive and inclusive practices across the district, and providing the board with clearer visibility into key performance indicators and the results of data-informed decision-making. The board also looks forward to continued collaboration regarding long-term financial and facilities planning, organizational alignment, and ongoing staff development. Thank you for your leadership, professionalism, and dedication to the district. The board appreciates your continued service and looks forward to the work ahead. Sincerely, the Phoenix Talent School Board. Congratulations. And so, Mr. Berry had a clause in his contract that after, evaluation, it just kind of kept rolling. That's not in there because I think like Kent, he's becoming wiser, through the years and his educational experience. And so, if it's okay with the board, I'll take on the task to get with Mr. Berry and talk about his contract and bring that back to you all for approval if that works. Okay, great. We will work on that. Speaking of contracts, the next item is SRO contract.
Yeah, thank you. We have shared the updated contracts with both city managers and police chief. We should be fairly expedient, I think, with the city of Phoenix. That partnership is really solid. We've had conversations with the city of Talent and the chief of police with some budgetary challenges, and we're looking at our budgets as well. And so we've been supporting that position fully from the district and at this school. And just with budgets, we're not going to be able to do that. So we'll cut that in half, and it'll be we're proposing a similar contract that we have with the city of Phoenix, and we'll see what type of service we can get from the city of Talent. I don't think there's a question that both entities value school resource officer and that resource in our buildings. I know our administrators and staff and just the presence is something that's really important to, I think, both of our entities. And so I'm hopeful we can work something out, but it'll have to be different terms of the contract. So with that said, I think we can get our contract back from the city of Phoenix. I'm not sure if it'll be back before the meeting on the 16th, but it should be back in May. And then I will keep you updated on the city of Talent's status.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you, I vaguely saw that there are some upcoming conversations with the city of Talent doing with budgets. Do you know when, I think there's one like this week or next, Rebecca's saying yes. Do you know how many there's going to be and when they'll have a better idea?
I don't know, but I know that Rick and Rebecca and I met a couple weeks ago, and I sent them some information and following up with some of their leadership. I don't know their budget meeting schedule. No, we went to that one. That was kind of the big first one of many, but I don't know a timeline for them.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, next is review interdistrict transfer slots.
Yeah, pretty standard, very similar to what we had last year. Actually, we increased the incoming last year at the board's recommendation. And we continue to have 0 out slots. You would have to qualify for a hardship to transfer out of the district. So we do have some requests already. Most of them are new. There are 3 current students that we'll review, but once we get this approved next time, we will look at contacting those families and start making decisions.
Got it. Thank you. Were you gonna ask about 11th and 12th grade?
No, I was gonna
Oh,
ask
okay.
about something else, but
All right.
you ask about 11th and 12th grade, then
I'm just, do we just not feel like we have capacity or,
There's a lot that goes into that. We used to have numbers in there. We haven't had a lot of success with students transferring in 11th and 12th grade and reaching that graduation target.
Okay.
So.
my question was on the request for transfers release. It says total non-resident students. And I was kind of confused on what that meant. If we're releasing students, aren't they resident? That's what I was confused.
Right here. Does it mean non-resident to?
I'm just clarifying it meant our
So
student.
you're talking, it should be resident.
Oh, it should be resident, I'm
Okay.
sorry, yeah.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure that I was understanding the data.
No, it should be.
Okay.
And if they're not a student right now, that could be, it could be a mid-year move where they moved into our district and want to retain. That will still have to meet a hardship, criteria.
Okay.
But that's usually typically what that means.
Okay.
Any more questions? All right, board meeting calendar for 26-27.
So this reflects Thursdays, back to Thursdays. But for the most part, utilizing the second and fourth Thursday of the month, instead of the first and third Thursday of the month, due to, we have essential confirmation that might be what a neighboring district does, that we have an employee, a board member that's an employee of that district.
Oh,
Nice, employee. The only minor changes are the, actually on the, there's 5 Thursdays in July, and so it's actually the 3rd and the 5th Thursday. The reason and we can put the 2nd and 4th, but I will be in DC on the 9th of July. So I wouldn't be here for that first organizational meeting, so decided to push that back. We do start post Labor Day, as you're gonna see, so we do, it's not, we will still be able to get those meetings in. And then in March, it's actually the 2nd and then the 3rd, we come right back with the work session, the 3rd Thursday due to spring break.
I felt like we had the exceptions, but it just talks about the November one, so just maybe Denise out of consistency writing the asterisk about, or just leaving that off.
Oh, I was going to, this
Yeah.
was just her, this is
Yeah.
just a draft, I'm sorry, I just
But
wanted
that's the
to.
only thing, I looked at those dates and I didn't see anything weird.
And then the 5th might conflict with the OSBA.
The 5th of,
Oh, yeah, that's
No.
another thing.
No, it doesn't.
the only thing that conflicts with the OSBA is July 16th is the summer conference in UG.
Okay.
Which.
Which I'm not sure if anyone besides me is going.
Do we typically have 2 in July? Or do we just usually have our?
Well, it's kind of like we've done it, kind of like a retreat.
Oh, yeah.
We've scheduled a retreat.
Okay.
And it says,
Are we talking, did you ask about OSBA or how?
Yeah, for November. Well, both.
November 1 is fine, I double checked
what
it.
day is that?
It's like the 13th or something.
Oh, it's late this year. Okay.
No, it's usually right around Labor,
Oh, yeah.
The holiday.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right.
Veterans Day. It's like the 12th or 13th. But the only date that did conflict according to the OSBA calendar was July 16th. Again, I don't know, they're having 2 summer conferences, one in one in Redmond. And I don't know besides me if anyone's even gonna go to the Halloween one.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to throw it out there to be out there.
Okay. We can look at July. I might be gone the very end of July anyway, so we might just need to look at July. Wonder if we could get away with just like the 23rd or something like that. Is everyone gonna be around the 23rd? Just a thought. We can talk more about it, but
Well,
I would have fun.
is everyone gonna be here the 23rd? Are you here?
July.
Denise reminded me now is the time to talk about it. So
Yeah, because we
let's
have
just
to
look at our
create
calendar.
Business action.
Yeah.
So are you talking about just having one meeting in July?
That's,
all?
yeah,
Okay. That
so
works.
thought.
I mean,
And then that one that's our election, but we don't have any.
Right.
We have
doing
no
that.
It would be our,
But
just
we
our
have the.
board chair, and somebody else is gonna have to do it
Yep.
by statute.
Yep.
So,
Not it.
so start your.
I already just said it, not it. I would be more than happy to help whoever, but I can't, there's no way I can board chair and.
No, come on, Dee.
You could
You could say yes to that one thing.
23rd works, we can.
23rd
wrap
works.
that up.
Yeah, that works for me too.
How's that? Just one meeting in July and the
Okay.
23rd. That work for everybody?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's 2 other dates in the
Because again,
calendar.
Michael, yeah,
What's that?
we're changing because of you, I'm just saying.
Not because of me.
No, I'm joking.
Oh, it's
Okay.
Jeez.
There, speaking of changing, there's 2 dates that I may not be able to make. The JAB meeting, I don't think I'm gonna be in town,
No,
and which I'm super, super sad about.
no.
And then, and Nancy might not be in town either. It's the Washington DC advocacy trip. And we usually leave on the last Thursday of the month.
You leave on Thursday?
Well, yeah, usually we fly out. I don't know when I'm supposed to be there. It'll probably be Wednesday or Thursday.
Yes.
I'll either fly Wednesday or Thursday.
So if we did doing it on Wednesday, wouldn't happen.
Well, it'd help more than Thursday. I don't know exactly when it is. I can ask them next week, or I can send them an email.
Okay, then can you find out?
Yeah,
Cause I'd like everybody to.
I'm just letting you know that one
Okay.
might be an
Okay,
issue, cause usually it's like Thursday, I usually fly out Wednesday or Thursday. So I'll.
okay,
When Nora knows.
okay, find out.
And I will not be here on September 24th.
Okay,
I'll be at the same.
got it.
Boomer.
It could be a lot worse. Okay,
Yeah, it's not bad. The jab one is just sad.
yeah. Well, find out more about.
I will, I'll send
You
an
see.
email.
Okay.
What if we just flip those, the jabs on
We
14th,
could shift job.
Oh, could we do, yeah, we could do jab on the 14th.
still in January.
Oh,
Yeah, that would probably be brand.
If we did that,
so that might work.
then you could just miss a regular boring.
Just a regular for me. I do watch them online, by the way, every single
I
time,
know.
but
We could switch those.
Yeah, just swap them.
Welcome. Okay.
Is Denise tracking all?
Is there a
this?
month that we haven't changed yet? We should look at that. No.
December.
We're taking it.
Not
Throw it on
December.
Wednesdays.
That's my question.
I like that December 10th, only one meeting. Okay. All right, so we got July 23rd,
Switching job.
switch and jab. And that's it.
So
Okay, perfect.
you never keep track about.
Great.
MSBA.
Okay, speaking of processes we love, representative process, so looks like we will applications submitted no later than May 6th. And the board will interview applicants on May 20th.
Just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion. Is that an okay time frame?
That
That-
works.
okay.
Do you have some questions about the actual application?
Please.
I just am wondering if the task needs to be edited at all to get more of what you are hoping for.
Yeah.
And also just like any feedback so that we can feel that in a way that you're getting what you'd like. And
Yes.
also maybe asking what involvement you would like to have during that time. Like maybe you guys coming on to HTV, maybe
Oh.
you guys coming and doing a tabling event so that people are really understanding the connection. When
Yeah,
I'm the face of it, they're not always understanding what college is like, and so
Got
I just think that could kind of shift the way that is perceived and what your,
yeah,
you know, kind of next steps on.
okay. Great idea. Do you have any ideas about the task? That of what you think would be, I have felt it is becoming a little bit. I don't wanna say stale, but I think what happens is it kind of ends up being similar things, and so. I don't know, what do
I
you
think
think?
it tends to be a little bit leadership related, which is good in
Right.
one way, right? But
Right.
I think that we're not just looking, my interpretation is that we're not just looking for students who are involved in leadership. Of course,
Correct.
we want that, but that's not the only, you know, like.
Yes,
Right, and so if we could do something that's more related to kind of what you all are doing, maybe there's like I don't know, like a board policy review kind of thing, or there's some more like civic engagement, something. That would be something I think you guys should talk about, but I think we've stepped in the right direction, but I don't think we've landed on something that really feels relevant to what you guys are.
I'm really glad that you're mentioning that because actually that has been we've kind of sort of discussed it and then it always kind of fizzles out and then we get excited and then it kind of fizzles out. And my request has always been that it isn't just leadership because then we continue to kind of create this cycle of the same students doing the same thing. And that doesn't really open up opportunities for like really brilliant minds that might not be engaged in all the high visible engagement. So that has always been my hope, but I think that we just continue to kind of fall into this hamster wheel. And then I think it just kind of depends with the students, like what sorts of things they might want to do. And then I don't know, like I would almost love to have more students kind of come and shadow. For a minute, we had, well, not for a minute, for a while, we have some student representatives at the Equity Policy Belonging Committee, and that has been really sweet. Like I love to have that input. The conversations tend to be really rich because you're talking to students that that these policies and structures and systems directly impact, and then they're able to give us really good feedback. So I really appreciate you elevating that concern because I think we can do a much better, stronger engagement than what we've done.
I think that the task also lets students know what the expectations are, and I know I haven't had the chance to talk to our student board reps this round, but last year, some of them were feeling a little bit like, even though the experience was great, it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, and so a task really helps to set students up for, you know, like practicing some of that without asking them to do, and so I think you all giving some thought around that would be really good, and I'd be available to talk through that at some point once you guys have thought through some options as well, but I do think that we need to kind of elevate to the next step. We've done a good job so far, but I think we can do a better job of that.
Such valid.
I'm thinking of a couple things. One, we could have students share an update like they do at board meeting. But if we wanted to take it further, we can have students identify a policy or just something they would like to see changed. And I think the thing I like about the task right now is that it involves engaging your peers. And so that's one element I like. I'd love to hear from our students if you have ideas about what you think would be a meaningful idea of something that would help the board decide on student reps.
I don't know about the task, but I think a lot of people don't really know about the board. Like remember when we applied, there were only like 6 applicants, right? Is that what it was? And I think if you guys did come to the high school or do some event to make it more known with the students, you would get a lot more applicants because I think the way I learned about it, I'm sure you too, but we heard about it through leadership because our leadership teacher was like, hey, this is an opportunity, but other students don't hear about that. I think that's why you guys get that cycle of mostly leadership students, because that's only students that really hear about it. But if you guys go to the high school or do something on PHTV and make it known so that not just leadership students are the ones applying, you would get like more diversity in the groups and not just that hamster wheel of leadership students.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to add on to that, and not only like saying, oh, come apply to be a student rep, but explaining what it means to be a student rep and the responsibilities that one must take on to be in this role.
Yeah.
And like time wise and responsibilities and what kinds of things you do it when you are in board. Yeah.
Great.
Can you each share like what your biggest takeaway or what you learned the most from doing the experience so far?
I learned that this is where they talk about budgets and they actually advocate for different policies and they go to Washington to advocate for these kinds of policies. I like the immigration one. Yeah. Policies when federal immigration authorities enter public education property. I had seen this like online and I'd seen it's been an issue, but I wasn't sure how our board was addressing this or how they were approaching that kind of situation, and I'm glad to see that we actually do address these kinds of things.
I think the biggest thing for me has been seeing that there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes. Like I knew you guys existed, I knew you guys were doing all this work, but I didn't realize it was so intricate. You guys were going in with all this detail to all these different little issues and like really making sure that students are getting like what they deserve and what they need. And you guys are like really addressing the concerns. But I didn't realize that there was so much depth to it.
I think having you all participate in that, I love this idea of us coming in and engaging, oh, you can have that for us. But I think it's important that your peers hear from you all too, and that would be lovely.
Yeah, as
Great.
I've been hearing them speak.
Yes,
I think
yes.
also we need to be clear about what the time commitment is, and I feel like our attendance this year has been a little bit different than it has been since I started with the board. But be clear about what's expected and you know, if you can't commit to those meetings, you know. It's important that you come for that, and also, I feel like. If I knew someone was committed, they're gonna be there, I'm making a decision out of this group, and it's always so hard to pick the students. But then if we don't have the participation the whole time, then you're like, okay, did someone miss out for that slot?
Yeah.
So that's all I'm thinking, is that just being clear about what that commitment looks like. And I know people have sports and everything, like, you know, they're doing those things, and that's totally fine, but also knowing that their voice matters and that there is a commitment.
Can we have like a subcommittee to kind of start to craft some of these things, or is this the space that we need to have those discussions?
We certainly could, yeah, we could do that.
I think
Yeah.
having a subcommittee might help us kind of start to lay some of that groundwork and
Make traction.
ideas. Yeah, well, it's also something reflective, because I mean, that is a concern that I have brought up in every time we do selections, because we're like, this individual is. The individuals that usually participate or apply, they're such high achieving individuals. But the flip side of that is that because they're so active, then they might not participate. So it's not a fault, it's just like, how do we help students be more thoughtful and manage that time? Because it is a lot.
Well, and elevate some other voices maybe who. can
Yeah.
contribute,
And
Right,
it does, I mean, what you said is really valid. It takes up space. It blocks a seat that somebody who does have more capacity to participate could participate, but we don't, because, you know, we already have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also think, oh, sorry, go ahead, Don.
I'd like to see students coming from representing our alternative programs, maybe more the vocational end of the school, the CTE, and also the online alternative program. I'd like to hear from some of them and maybe, you know, broaden our base of where our students are coming from.
so we have had that in the past.
Okay.
Yeah, like CT, like Javier was in CT program, yeah. So, yeah, but they can treat, you know, encourage that.
So Nancy, what would this subcommittee be tasked to do?
Kind of creating, what is it that, creating for us? Do we
The
have?
task and the.
What is a task? What is a time commitment? What is it? How do we envision that engagement? Just like the nuts and bolts of the role of a student representative. And also it helps us communicate to invite students to participate. I think it's a lot of different things.
Do you think it's April 2nd? Just thinking about the timeline, is that something that's realistic to do right now?
I mean, otherwise we will just do the same thing for another year and then we'll fall into the same
Yeah.
pit. So,
I think what I might suggest, just given the time constraint, is maybe that committee could develop the task this time around and report back to the board on that in 2 weeks. Would that be realistic? I'm just thinking, I think it's a great idea. I'm just trying to figure out what would we have the time and capacity to accomplish. Yeah. Oh, please, sorry, yeah.
I think that you can get some of the information you're looking for in just like asking more questions on the application, not necessarily through the task.
Okay,
Right, so if you wanna know what things the students are, like, if you want a student from CT or, you know,
Yeah.
whatever the places, we can ask for those things in the application.
Mhm.
The applications are very simple right now.
yes,
Which is good, right? But, I think that could help reduce the amount of time you're spending on creating the task, because you could kind of like think up the application in a way that can get some of the information. And
okay,
then the subcommittee could focus on a task, but the application could be used for some of that piece. The task doesn't have to encompass all of those.
or it could be just the whole application, including the task. That could be, something, I don't know. What do you think?
I think.
I hear you volunteering to lead it.
I am.
Yeah,
I am
okay,
volunteering
that's
to
great.
lead it,
That's great.
and I'll find some times.
Would anyone like to join Nancy in that work or?
I have some other comments,
Oh,
but not to do.
Go for it.
Nancy.
Yeah, Don's like, I'm not committing to anything else.
Two things is, one, I think part of the problem is getting the word out. Like sometimes the word gets out. One year we had like 15 or something and the word got out really well. And so I think getting the word out to Armadillo and other places, I think is important. And I think these ideas are great. Second, there is a national organization for student reps.
Mm,
And they probably have some information and tools for us. I will be seeing them at the conference next week. So I would be more than happy to connect with them and ask them questions.
That'd be great. That'd be awesome.
Because they're usually there and the guy is usually walking around. And I think it's also, that's another topic that I want to talk about. I think that would I think it's not very much the fee to become a member of that. And I think it might be useful for our, because then the student reps can then talk to student reps throughout the United States.
Yeah,
And I think that would be really helpful as well, but that's
We're not reinventing the wheel.
yeah.
well, and I really, I think an interest that we voiced that we just that hasn't come to fruition is having our student reps work on policy. Even if it's one policy that we take up, that is student, kind of a student-led effort. That could be what's the defining policy for that cohort of student representatives that we could take up during the year. I would love to see us, really kind of have students participate and understand the importance of policy development to their experience as students. And and by the way, you all are incredible. So all of this discussion is not any reflection on you all, but it's just about trying to find ways to strengthen the experience for you. And so
Make it better.
yeah. So could you be an honorary member of the committee,
Yes, I
Dawn, since you're going to the?
because I have another idea too. So
Okay, great.
I was looking through my emails trying to find it somewhere today. I saw they were looking for students on some government task force. I can't remember where I saw it.
Yeah.
And we haven't seemed to open that up if that's what students want to do. And so there's conversation of that as well as being on a task force. There was another thing that I don't think we've opened up as well. I think it was probably the national organization. So yeah, I think that's something that Brent seems to remember where it's at.
Yeah, I think it was ODE, and we've had people apply for those those
Okay.
statewide task force before, and through the selection process, we haven't been successful, but Nancy said something earlier about nuts and bolts of I don't want Joe to fall off his chair at home, but we could have Joe do like a nuts and bolts of what a student rep, what it means to be a student rep, and
Yes.
you've seen Joe's things he puts together, and they're amazing, and so that could be something on PHTV, it could be on social media, it could be, something, I don't know what the turnaround time would be. If we could do that in time, because there's a lot of activities in the next couple weeks, but we would have that every year to be able to show and advertise.
Awesome to have the students actually
Yeah.
highlight
Yeah.
what their experience has been.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just think.
And I think he captured some interviews last year already, so, so we can have a running yearly kind of,
Yeah.
Would you?
Also, I know you have a thought. Did you have something else to share? Okay, I'm also thinking about, is there something, could students earn some credit or something? That would create a little bit more incentive, maybe some skin in the game? Could they earn a sash for graduation or a cord or something like that? Just to, just to create some, what's that? Yeah, something. Maybe there's,
We can do both of those.
They have the CTE stashes, why couldn't you have it?
They're called stoles.
stoles, yes, thank you, thank you. Yeah, the stoles are the actual,
Not assholes or cords,
Yeah.
right,
any of those things.
yeah.
Haven't had a lot.
I'm thinking of just, that, cause I really, this idea of taking up a policy and, there's gotta be some civic stuff there. And it's incredible time commitment too,
The
so,
policy, I'm just gonna say, the policy is a real time commitment, I'm a little concerned about that.
sure.
Just depending on what you mean by taking up a policy,
Yeah.
like, so what your idea with that is?
Mhm.
If it's just a simple thing, but
Mhm.
I have seen students that make a policy, take it to
Mhm.
legislator, get somebody to back it and all of that. That takes years. And so usually
Mhm.
what happens is it's a real challenge and a commitment. So I don't know what you mean by policy. So, yeah, I do have some concerns if you're talking like from the ground up, passing it. Yes, Kate.
I was just gonna say, I do think probably that national organization would have some information that would allow us to better.
Yeah.
Think through awarding credit and some of the work that would need to happen in order for us to justify credit. So I would be interested in that, in terms of high school.
Yeah.
From around that.
Great. Cool.
Into the presentation, we're just talking about having engaged with the folks from the National Organization for Student Representatives on boards, and I was just sharing that they've talked about this. I mean, there's even like
Right.
some sessions which I've gone to,
And there's some sessions coming up.
and they haven't, in my opinion, they haven't been that groundbreaking or like anything that I felt that was like, oh my gosh, we could really learn from them. I think that a lot of the pieces that they talk about are the pieces
Yeah.
that our students have already done or are continuously practicing, but I think ours is kind of touch and go because it hasn't been like super consistent, but we pretty much do this very similar participation and work every.
Yeah, but when I talk to other board members throughout the state and stuff and ask them about their student reps, then they tell me stuff and I'm like, oh gosh, you're not. They're great, but we're not in the same lane of them.
Well, and there are districts who don't even have them at all
Right.
in our own
Right.
town.
No,
And
no,
so I think this is a great example
I know
of
that.
why, we aim high and it's good. We have high expectations for ourselves and and it's great. And it's always good to learn and grow and get better and refine. So, okay, so it sounds like Nancy and Dawn are going to work on
Something.
Yeah.
improving the application along with Kaylin and
Where does the application live?
I have it.
Thank you.
lives with Kaylin.
Could you email it to us? Thank you.
I think we can figure something out.
Awesome. Good discussion.
With moving back to Denise's dates that she has here.
Yeah,
I think that they're great. I
okay,
think that sets us up for a good timeline to be able to get the student reps
yes,
elected before
yes,
next week.
yep, I agree. Great. Okay, handbooks,
Yeah, you have the handbooks in there, not too many changes, but the changes are highlighted. I don't know, I know high school had a few changes. Middle school had maybe a dress code clarification.
Dress codes are.
It's, so if you have any questions on there, we'll be happy to ask, but we wanted to present those to you, as we start getting registration open. Families have to go in there, check and say they've read the handbook and or seen the handbook and go from there.
Does the handbook address drop off?
At Orchard Hill.
Yeah, well, could be.
What do you mean?
Here's what I see. I see, first of all, I see our staff out there doing an incredible job. One of the things is like, drive all the way forward, people, right? But I remember one year, we did a lot of communication around drop off and encouraging people to have their kids exit the driver's side. Because what I see a lot is kids exiting the passenger side. And I worry because sometimes cars, well, now I will say, like today, our staff member did a great job. She recognized it was happening and she went out and stood by the, where it was happening. So kudos to our staff, but I wonder if it might be a good time to just do some more education for families on here's good drop-off etiquette 101 and for safety, most importantly.
I think we can do that specifically with each school. I don't know,
Yeah.
we have one elementary hand, but
Yeah,
but I do, I mean, that didn't really matter, but it is way better than it used to be.
Yes.
I'm curious about the changes that we made at Talent Elementary with
Same.
and I'm wondering if that has helped. I don't know, Heather.
and that might not be in the handbook. It may be just some feedback, when we start the year, some explicit reminders for families.
Depends on which size start getting out of hand, so you bring the SRO and have them talk to the people that are actually causing the issues, they don't do it anymore.
Huh?
Yeah.
That's
Pretty crazy.
one method.
There's a real opportunity, partnership with SRO and students, and we will be having that policy, safety committee person.
I just think like exiting the driver's side is a big one because it just.
So why,
It seems like
that seems weird to me, because every time I've dropped off the kid, the passenger.
Well, it depends on the school. So at Orchard Hill,
Other
the
way.
curb is on the driver's side,
Yeah,
right? So,
Oh.
so the idea is exiting whatever side the curb is on.
So that is.
Yes.
City frame, the
Yes,
curb,
The
that.
exit on the curb side, the sidewalk side.
Cause I'm like.
Yeah. Right, so Phoenix is the opposite, right?
And so is Talent, so I think it's
Yeah.
the only one.
I've never
Okay.
dropped off at Orchard.
Got it, yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, exit the sidewalk.
But like, we-
Whatever side that is. Yeah.
Occasionally, there'll be some chaos happening in the elementary school parking lot, and a lot of the time, I would say they send out like a email or some
Yeah.
text message or something, like, hey
Yeah.
guys, calm down.
Yeah.
And usually, it will get better there for like quite a while.
Calm down, person.
Now you have to go to work, so does everybody else.
Yes.
But it's just good practice for
Yeah.
everybody to get the same messaging.
Yes.
And, I mean, you all talked about this in your work session, the value of shared language. I mean, you
Yes.
guys went around and around about what questions meant and how each of us interpreted things.
Yeah.
Shared language,
Mhm.
but I think that if you just have Joe
Mhm. Yeah.
working with the SROs
Mhm.
and, I don't know,
A
it's just
video,
important.
Sick tomorrow.
yeah.
I don't need to scroll.
No, I know.
All right. Speaking of language. The last item on info and discussion is language accessibility. I thought just to kind of introduce this topic, I think it would be best, I know we've had some experiences recently in particularly that we wish had gone different. And I want to acknowledge that, but I also think what would be most productive for this conversation is to be forward looking. So what is it that, maybe do an assessment of what we have now, but then think about what is it that we're looking for to improve language accessibility in our district? if I may, I have some ideas and I'm happy to hear any feedback or ideas, but so what that might look like is just kind of clarifying what do we have in place now? Because I think a lot of what we're talking about, and correct me if I'm wrong, is just at what events can families show up and expect there to be services available to them for language accessibility. And so I think it would be helpful, and Brandon and staff, just clarifying what categories of events do we have where we already have automatic interpretation available? So I think graduation is a good example. You show up, it's the first thing you see when you walk in is they're there passing out the devices. That's a big event. You can know that you're gonna go there and there's gonna be, you don't have to call and request it ahead of time. It's gonna be there. And then identifying where is it typically request based now, and then maybe just outline one or two ways a policy, if we wanted to explore a potential policy around this, could formalize presumptive access for languages accessibility. Certain family facing events, or and what are the criteria that might determine that? Is it based on expected attendance? Is it based on so I don't know, that's just a thought for, I would just encourage us, let's think about this through a policy lens, and kind of start there. It's just my suggestion. Happy to hear any other suggestions, but I think that might be most helpful because it's something we've been talking about for a long time, and I think the way that we best can address that in our role as board members is looking at it through a policy. So, thoughts?
I like that idea. I think that would be the best way to assure that. I think it would be. Make that tedious, but I think that's the best way to address all of our concerns surrounding language access.
And I will share, after, I think it was a January meeting, we had some discussion around language accessibility. I think Nancy, was it the JAB meeting? It's something that you brought up. And so I did reach out to Denise and I asked her to reach out to some districts around the state. And the truth is, there's not a sample policy with OSBA right now that we could find. And I don't think we could find one district that had a policy on the books. So this would be groundbreaking. We would be kind of crafting our own, but it certainly can be done. And so, yeah, go ahead.
I feel like I speak about this a lot, so I'm just waiting for other people to share.
I think you're kind of the leader in this.
Well, I want to say that, I was thinking about, like, we were talking about, there's, the fashion show coming up. Is there language accessibility at the fashion show? I was just thinking that when they announced that, I wondered if it was there, because I was really bothered by that experience for me, because I felt like it hurt my heart that some folks at a meeting here couldn't understand what was being shared. So I don't want to have that happen again. And it's hard for us, but I'm like, why don't they have policy for this? That is so important. And why do we have to be groundbreaking? Like, that's
for Phoenix Town, that's what we do.
Like, let's do it 100%. Like, that should be what it is, that we are known for that in our district. We have families who are driving their kids to our school to participate in our programs, who don't necessarily have the, English language as that's not their first language. And let's meet them where they are.
So how do we decide, how do we do it now? Are there events where we just, aside from graduation, what other events do we say we just automatically have?
I've attended a lot of like band concerts or choir concerts and just different I don't know, after school activities where they have language access available if necessary, or an interpreter. Yeah.
All conferences,
Okay.
obviously is a big one that we have interpretation devices. And I'd kick it to any other, if there's other events, I mean, we've really, had a concerted effort. We've actually incentivized bilingual staff, to make
Yeah.
sure that we have bilingual staff at all of our events. And so I think there's certain events throughout the year where we have dedicated that there is gonna be interpretation services there. We're continuing to look at a technology to make sure it is functional, and we do have devices that make sense and that you can hear and is timely and things of that nature. But I would say not every single event, but quite a bit of our events are done. It is something that's obviously important to us. From where we've been a few years ago to now, I think we've made some good strides, but we can always get better and need to make sure, I mean, just like tonight, if we had somebody show up to have some translation services here.
Do the devices that we have now, is the technology such that you don't need a human interpreter there speaking into a microphone? Can I have something that kind of functions like the live translation? Or do you have to have somebody there interpreting live?
We have both, and I think we're figuring out some of them. It's kind of like the UN, you know, you can put your earpiece in there and then you can do that. But I think there is a delay. I think there's some challenges with that. We do have the other devices like the graduation where you're speaking in and you're broadcasting to all the people that have the devices as well. So,
okay.
So we have a language differential in our pay scale that does that. 'Cause I know my own company have, specified folks who are doing the bilingual piece of where I work. And there's not enough of them, but we do have that here, right? That
yeah,
people are
we've
getting
done that for
a
several
differential.
years, no matter your role in our district.
Right,
You
right,
get that
they get
stipend,
that,
yeah.
okay, yeah. Cause I wondered about the struggle at my own company is having enough of those folks, and I didn't know if that was a struggle here as well.
So one of the things, I think that I've heard some feedback about some of the technology that we have, that there is a delay and that delay can sometimes almost render the tool useless or, close to useless. And so I wonder if that's something we could explore of seeing is there a way to get some improvements with those devices? Because I think the biggest challenge is if we have something technological that can just be made available and it might require an investment on behalf of the district, but that could be the easiest way to expand language accessibility, because I think one of our biggest challenges that any organization has is having a human being at every event who is capable of not just interpreting, but interpreting well.
Yeah.
Is the other thing,
Like,
right?
Nancy will say, she likes to do one, but not the other. It's like each one has their specialty.
Correct.
And
Yeah,
there's something lost in it. Like
Right.
we had conversation about Clara's interpretation of what went on there, and there were some missed pieces that, you may not have heard.
I think that can always be the case too, but yeah.
Well, that is oftentimes or can be the case. I think what we're talking about is just a more general things that are missing. So simultaneous interpretation, you're interpreting as one person speaking, I'm interpreting. Like I was sharing with Polly that is my strength, that my brain works better that way. Somebody can be speaking and I can just interpret in Spanish because that's the other language, my French. But consecutive interpretation, it's harder because one person goes and then the other person speaks. One person speaks and then the other person repeats that. So sometimes because we are not well versed on interpreting, people will ramble for 5 minutes and our brain can't capture all of that. And you have this issue that we're talking about, that some information gets missed. So I do appreciate your question about like, well, what events do we have? And I think having an inventory of what places that interpretation is actually happening is one thing, because I think we've talked about like, well, it happens everywhere. It doesn't happen everywhere. We've talked about graduation. Even that is really iffy, because I think there's a couple of things. It's where we're interpreting and also the level of interpretation that is done in a way that it's actually dignified, right? Because sometimes I have kids in the school district, so I come to, and when my kid had an IEP, I came to the school a lot because my kid just needed a lot more attention. And when I came a lot, I cannot tell you of one time that I did not interpret for a family because there wasn't enough staff interpreting at conferences. Fortunately, I know a lot of our families and they felt really comfortable, so they were like, Nancy, you helped me. But I also felt like, I don't know, again, I felt very honored for people to feel comfortable for me to interpret for them during conferences. But I also knew like, I think that they go to me because there was probably no one else, or if there was, they would have to wait 30 minutes for somebody else to be done. And that still happens. And at the high school, when there's open houses, I still interpret for families because we just don't have enough staff. And I'm wondering if like, if we can, you know, get an extra stipend or something for parents. I know that there's a lot of really beautiful staff at all of the schools, but for just to have that extra support for families, just to have somebody interpreting. And I mean, yeah, sometimes not sometimes, it can absolutely be a financial consideration, but I think our families are worth that. I think our families are worth having somebody that's going to be accessible, where they're not having to wait for long periods of time so they can get their needs met. So for me, it's not just doing an inventory of where interpretation is happening, but how does that interpretation happen? Because I think we have very different ideas. I oftentimes hear people say here, oh, I speak the language, and I'm like, you kind of understand it, but you don't speak it very well. And I think we have these very different ideas of what that means. So when at the high school, when you said, well, people come in. When we first started doing it, I would just see parents walking by because our families are very interesting. They're very loving, but we also have a lot of pride. Like there's this need of like, I don't need help. I can just go and get my seat and I don't have to get something else. But I'm like, I know you need this. Here, take it. And then they're hearing it and they're like, oh my gosh, this was so great. But otherwise, they wouldn't have picked up that piece of equipment because we also didn't do an introduction of there's this piece of equipment that's available. So again, there's a lot of gaps, even when we are thinking that we are providing language accessibility. There's no announcement at the beginning of graduation that language accessibility is available. There's this equipment, go use it. There isn't that. It needs to be systematized in a way that families will start to feel more comfortable utilizing the tools that we have.
What do you think about what Michael's saying about the policy?
I mean, I love this idea of the policy, but if we kind of go around, I don't know what it entails to create a policy from scratch. That's just my ignorance. I don't know. But I think that simultaneously we can work on a policy and also start to improve the processes even without a policy. So again, I don't know what it entails for a policy. I don't know if like it has to be a lawyer. I mean, because I don't know. But I think that we continuously kind of go back and forth between like the chicken and the egg, what needs to come first. I think we can just do it.
I think something that says, when we have events in Phoenix Town, here's what the board expects in terms of language accessibility, both in the manner and method of how interpretation happens, but also to your point, what does it look like, right? And so I think we should be realistic too. We could pass a policy that says there will be a live interpreter at every event, but I don't know that that would be realistic
Right.
either. So I think the way my brain was thinking about it is, can we have almost like tiers, you know, like
Right.
what's one solution that could potentially be available at all events in the district?
I think that that's part of the way my brain is working. It's how do we create a strategic plan? Like the goal is not to be from 0 to 100. We're not gonna do that, right? But every year, really increasing by a percentage of this year, we have had interpretation at, I'm just making these numbers up, 3 out of the 10 events that we've had. Next year, we're gonna have 5 out of the 10 events. So again, I'm not expecting perfection, but I am expecting progress. And sometimes I feel this resistance because it's like, well, we already do that. Yeah, but if we don't do it well, we might as well not even do it. Or I shouldn't say that because I just contradicted what I said about the perfection and progress. But what I mean is like, if there's a resistance to do something better, which I do feel, I personally feel that, it's really difficult, you know, at the meeting that we had last time when we had, the irony, we had a conversation about inclusion and our special guests were not even included. It was incredibly infuriating. It was painful. It was embarrassing. Like, that is not who we are. That is not who we should be. Those families to me felt incredibly tokenized and it was embarrassing for me. Because these are not families that I'm just here as board serving. These are people that I love and I care for. And to have these families, for me to feel like they're totally tokenized, why do we only have Spanish speaking families representing special education? That was so painful.
No, I understand, and I want to be sensitive to the fact that we're talking about individual families, and so
Yes.
I wanna try to keep the conversation forward focused, but I hear you.
But in
and that's-
order for me to be forward focused, I really need to address the things.
I hear you.
So
Yeah,
it's not
I hear you.
about
I
like,
know, and we also have,
We're
we have
gonna-
staff who were incredible, you know, I think
I
they're.
didn't get that, and but that's kind of my point, Michael, that
Right.
I think that we say we're doing so much better, and at the same time, we're failing. We fail in a way that that we can do better. So it's not about like,
What,
I think this is like a both and situation.
what if?
Yes, we can continue to do better, and I love and I appreciate and I see the heart and I see the work, and I still think we have a long ways to go. So when we think about not just an inventory, but how we're doing that, how well are we actually providing language accessibility? I
What
go
if
back
we
to that.
started with some data collection? Because, you know, I think I hear a lot of anecdotes.
Yeah.
You know, we have these events, but what if we have, I mean, we already have a method that we track events that happen. What if that's where we started? What if that's where the policy started was, you know, you had this event. Was language access provided? What was the type of language access that
I
was
think
provided?
collecting data and like doing a baseline assessment, I think that's fantastic, but I think that we can also simultaneously start to practice on doing better interpretation.
Right. I agree. It's just.
Maybe it's the two parts of it. We have a policy that says it's going to be there.
Mhm.
And we get the data of where we're starting at.
So I'm gonna jump in on the tail end of this. I had conversations with some families about interpretation. Just one of those things that happened. And and from this conversation as well, there's some gaps. And a few years ago, I can't remember when, I think it was, we had some great groups and we had like Bridging Communities came and other places came, and we had families come, we fed them, and we asked really important questions and got without people in the room so people could have their honest feedback. And when I had these conversations with their families, and I don't mind saying I'm gonna have a few notes, but when I came from that, I was like, okay, there's definitely some gaps. And one of the things was that to relay the gaps, they're relaying it through their interpreter, who they don't want to offend of what the gaps are. And then their interpreter has to go to their boss and tell them the gaps. And so that was like one of the challenges that they had brought up. And so when we had those workshops, I was in one, it seemed to go really well. And I'm wondering if something like that for this challenge would maybe be good to get a lot of brainstorming ideas. And I'm sure there's some organizations to help, because I want to make sure that that families feel comfortable and can speak their
Focus group you're talking about, that we did.
Focus groups, I don't know, 4 years ago.
This was at Phoenix Elementary, I'm not sure what it was called.
Yeah, I was
They
there
had
when I first
pizza,
board.
but I'm thinking, I mean, it doesn't have to be that big, because that was for different topics, but just have something where community groups can come and what's that word, just kind of facilitate it and get the information so the parents feel comfortable and we can work on, because there's probably other things. I think Nancy does a great job saying, but I think there's probably other things. If families are coming to me, telling me things, I'm sure we're missing a gap. And so that's all I'm saying, is maybe just start with that, and then we can build on policy, and then we can build on goals. Because I'm afraid that if we don't do that first piece, we're gonna be missing something.
We have to know what problem we're trying to, I mean, we
Right.
know generally what problem we're
Right.
trying to solve, but we need to know in detail what problem that is.
So some of their,
I think that you can find that
Yeah.
out through
Mhm.
focus groups that, or like, listening sessions for people to come and you can share like what's working really well, so we can continue to do more of that. What are some things that you would like us to improve on, so we can think about how we're going to strategize and scaffold all of these improvements into these new things, so we can actually have some sort of baseline so that we can include it in a policy that we're thinking about. But I do appreciate that idea, because I think it's really wonderful. It's not just about listening to me, but it's really listening to the people that are mostly impacted, the people who continuously are facing this gap.
Well, it speaks to what we've been doing in our self-evaluation and our superintendent evaluation of having a connection with our community and knowing what they are needing and showing up in that space.
And we talk about how do we engage the community? How do they evaluate what we're doing? That's a really,
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
I don't know, this may be devil's advocate, but I was very impressed with the meeting. Special needs families who dad and mom both showed up, the kids, special needs kids, it's difficult to predict. And there was a level of respect and courage. I was astounded at the courage to speak to the whole group. In Spanish as well as some English. And to have the staff members who worked with these kids right there, I felt like, and again, I'm the newbie. I felt like it was one of the most, the best meetings that I had attended. Because of that level of involvement and the actual people right there saying what they said, and the kids doing what they do, you know? I mean, I especially enjoyed the little boy who, then there was somebody who said, and he had some talent that was being talked about. Dancing, yes, and his little boots, and I felt like finally we're getting some interaction there within that community. And it spoke to me of the inclusion that we're doing with special needs and with English as a second language. And so I felt really positive about the meeting. Yes, I agree, you know. We've got this, but we can improve.
So I wanna, I think role alignment is important. So, you know, I think Brent hears it loud and clear because, I mean, we put it in his letter, right? We talked about it. So I'm sure you're already thinking about this. So I love this focus group idea. So I'd love to hear from you, Brent, just your thoughts on, could we direct Brent as a next step? Because I'm trying to think of what's our next step. Could we direct him to explore this focus group idea and report back to us at the next meeting on what that could look like, whether it's engaging an outside group or and kind of help, because we need, you know, I think it's important that we need our chief executive to do his job, right? And to engage his staff in this work. And so
there should be students involved in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That focus group.
Is the request, thinking about focus group, but also doing an inventory of what places and also what equipment are we actually utilizing
think we
too?
can
I
certainly
think that
make
we can
that part
do
of it.
the three
Yeah,
pieces.
yeah. Thoughts?
Yep, have inventory on events and equipment. And to remind you, that was during our student investment account focus groups to where we were doing that. And so, and then we asked trusted members to be our partners, which we have a number of. So we could do that specifically for this topic as well.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking doing a whole new focus group with all the groups. I was thinking maybe just
Yeah,
the family, you know.
Specific to language.
I think that design proved to work pretty well.
It was so good.
Yeah.
Well, and these parents that talked to me said, you know, the awkwardness of saying like, I'm having a challenge with this or that, then that and we have such a close knit community that everybody kind of feels like family. And so they don't want to put their trusted interpreter in a position where it might be awkward for them as well. And so that's why after I drove away, I thought, aha, maybe this might be helpful.
Well, and it's not the end all be all, and I think nothing will ever replace the value of a good human being.
Oh, yeah.
Who could be, but my understanding is some of the equipment we have is a few years old. And the advancement in technology in the last just 2 years, when you think of AI and the capabilities of live translation and things like that, and that type of stuff, to your point, Dawn, could help alleviate some of those tension points of, I don't wanna, I don't want my person feeling like I'm speaking ill of them, but I need to be able to share, you know, honest feedback.
Safe space.
And technology could assist with that, perhaps, in that format. So
that seems like a good kind of immediate, but also it's gonna be like a while. And I'm also curious, I have offered myself, just because I've done medical interpreting, so this is part of the thing that I do have familiarity with. I will continue to extend myself to you all on how to do interpretation in a way that is more person-centered, in a way that actually helps us think through of like, what are some pieces that you might not know, not because you don't care, but because you simply don't know because you haven't had the need to do that. And again, when I talked about graduation, we have them, but we don't announce it at all at the front, right? Like there's an opportunity.
Or someone who's Spanish speaking, standing at the table, handing out the stuff.
we have
Just
that.
making it
we do that.
super
I don't know, I never noticed like you were saying, you're grabbing.
Sometimes we don't see them because.
They come in a different way.
Yeah. But I think that, you know, there's some things that we can do. We're coming up to the end of the year. There's gonna be a lot of transition from elementary to middle school to high school and on. And I am happy to start planning and thinking about what resources we have available so we can have offer a better experience for the parents or the caregivers of these students that come in without them having to continuously ask.
Again, off topic, but I was thinking about the talent shows. And there were talent shows that were earning money for the Sparrow, and there's talent shows at different schools and whatever. That seems like a perfect place to have translation because, well, Bad Bunny. Need I say more? If there had been an English translation, would we have benefited from that? Probably. And we would have learned a lot. You know, so.
Okay, well, I think we have a good start. This, would you agree? And I think we've got some things that are, we've got 2 weeks to work on and report back on the 16th, and we can let's just keep it alive and keep it moving forward.
And I do appreciate the space to share. Sometimes it feels really weird because it can be really easy to judge me as the angry brown woman, and I'm not angry.
You're not.
But I do have a responsibility, and my responsibility is our community and our students. And I'm just saying that out loud.
Well, knowing, Nancy, that there's no other district that we could find that has a policy, I think, and your expertise in interpretation, I think this is a business opportunity for you throughout the state of Oregon. So you might want to think about that.
As a medical interpreter, you can't advocate, and it creates a lot of challenges because again, you have to, it's not just the language, you think about the person and the person who oftentimes there's power differentials and people go, I'm not gonna say anything. I don't wanna seem uninformed or uneducated, so I'm not gonna ask questions. And then people's diagnosis go kind of haywire. And that's why
Yeah,
now that you have a little bit more, it's
Makes
just in my life.
makes sense. If I may, we just have one action item. It's the academic calendar. I think we could take that up fairly quickly. So do I have a motion to approve did you want to speak to anything before we, okay?
I move to approve the academic calendar for 26-27 as presented.
Second.
Oh, everybody.
Thank you, Holly. Who's second? Diana did.
Oh,
Somebody.
Oh,
Diane.
We'll give it to Diana.
Give it to Diane.
Replay says, okay.
I don't.
Any discussion? I just appreciate listening to staff and incorporating feedback and community and, you know, the calendar can be a very touchy subject, so.
I will just say one thing, that we will be closed on that October 12th for students and staff, but our year-round employees will work. It'll be a contract day for year-round employees.
Got it, okay.
And then on the next meeting that we have the agenda, the
We have to
report.
vote yet. We have to vote first.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I
Sorry,
tried
I
to
thought,
rush things.
yeah, is there any other more discussion on the calendar? Oh,
I
okay,
always forget about that.
it's okay, it's all right. Diane,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Dawn,
Yes.
Holly,
Yes.
Becca,
Yes.
I vote yes. Okay, sorry, go ahead, next.
So the SIA report, is that gonna be a document that we're gonna have of ways before that meeting or what? I know, we talked about this when we were in our meetings. I would love to see this.
This one is, in the effort of the state to have consolidation and integrated guidance. It's not being implemented super well. We gave a big integrated guidance report in the fall, I think you knew. This is really just that agreement that we'll need to share with the board, and it'll be just a few minute talk on what that agreement means and what we're doing. We just have to show you what that contract looks like essentially.
This is the new requirement.
Yeah, we can send that, we'll put that in the board book right away.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
Cause I just love to be able to see it a little bit before we.
We thought we had done all of this.
The work week to get through the stuff.
We thought we had done all this, and then Yasmin tried to pull the rest of our SIA funds, and we couldn't, and we thought that fall integrated guidance did that, but we have to do this one other thing for the board.
Gotcha.
So could we just add then Denise, we don't already have it on there, closing that board book, but just an update on language accessibility, just add that to information and discussion. Awesome. Okay. Thank you all, meeting's adjourned.